Hey,
This
Court.
call is being recorded.
Hey, Lily, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, hanging in there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm recording this. Is that okay? This is I'm using an app to record this call. You all right with that?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Thanks. You're in Philadelphia these days? Is that where you work?
Yeah. I've been in Philly now for a couple of years. I work at Penn, so.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
Do you like the city?
I do. I like Philly. It sucks that I can't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's less fun living in Philadelphia when you have to stay in your shitty apartment. And the weather is not that wonderful, but other than that, Philly's cool.
Have you been I don't know. I know that you work in healthcare, but do you work in healthcare such that you've been impacted by the COVID stuff, or are you mostly free of all that?
Well, mostly indirectly. I've had a couple patients die from COVID, unfortunately.
Oh my
but,
God.
kind of not either patients that I saw a while ago, mostly it's right now I'm working somewhat remotely, or mostly remotely. So I'm seeing patients by video. They're trying to reduce the amount of in-person appointments. So, and just the whole, everyone in healthcare is just really stressed. There's just perversely, there's been a ton of layoffs and budget cuts and things like that because healthcare revenue is down. So it's just kind of a tense feeling of just everything's going to shit. But, luckily, I am healthy. My colleagues are healthy, and most of my patients are healthy. So that's all good. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Well, I am calling because as I said in that email, I'm finally writing this play, and one of the characters, it's not going to be one of the. It's only five characters in the play because plays have to be kind of small. So one of the characters, but I would say not a lead, is the boyfriend of one of the leads is a genetic counselor. And so I remember that you told me that you were getting into that, and so I felt like I just wanted to reach out and just ask you sort of general questions about it and just see what your experience has been like in an effort to sort of flesh out the character and make it seem authentic and real. So the first question I have is what attracted you to that industry in the first place? It's kind of, I think a lot of people don't even really know that it exists. I actually just went and saw a genetic counselor because I've been having heart stuff, and so they thought it might be a problem, and they wanted to see if they could look at my genes and see if there was anything in my genes that suggested why I was having these heart problems at such an early age. And so I went and saw a gene counselor, but I think a lot of people don't know that is really a job. So how did you find out about it, and what drew you to it?
I'm curious. Where did you see a genetic counselor?
The Writers Guild Health plan is through UCLA. So I saw somebody at the UCLA Health Center in Westwood at Reagan Hospital.
I wonder if I know them. One of my classmates.
Her name is Judith Fan. Do you know Judy Fan?
I do not. No, that's too bad.
Okay.
But I work in cardiology. That's my specialty. So I was wondering if I.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
One of my classmates ended up working. She was at UCLA in cardiology, but I don't know if she still is. One of my grad school classmates. Yeah, it's a small profession, so it's a small world. So
yeah,
a lot of us know each other. But yeah, I don't know Judy Fan. Cool. Yeah, so I guess I always kind of wanted to work in healthcare. I was a biology major in college, and so I was always kind of a science person, but I didn't really, I did my time in labs and stuff, and it wasn't really for me. And so I kind of wanted to do something where
Did you think you wanted to be a doctor?
At one point, yeah, and then I kind of got disillusioned with it. My freshman year, I went. There was like an event for like if you wanted to be on like the pre-med track, and I like went, and I kind of like looked around, and I was like, oh, I'm nothing like these people. This is not my scene. It's like it's a very particular like type of, some people come to it like go on like kind of a non-alternative track or sort of like an alternative track. But if you're like pre-med, you are like this very, very particular type of person, which I was not. And I don't think I would have I wouldn't have had the grades to go to med school because it's so competitive. And I don't think I would have been able to hack it psychologically. Like it's so brutal. It's so competitive. And I just felt like, the reason to be a doctor as opposed to another healthcare professional, in my opinion, is like a lot about status or like, like status or power or, some perception you have of like being a doctor is like the be all end all. Whereas like if you want to be in medicine, if like your goal is to be in medicine and to take care of people and to help people and be mentally stimulated by like, if you're interested in medicine, you can accomplish all those things without having to go to med school, which is by all accounts kind of like pretty brutal, and residency. Yeah. So I kind of, put that to the side. And then I was thinking about different health careers, like being a nurse practitioner or being a PA. But it ended up that I had taken a human genetics class in my senior year of college that, I ended up working in another field after I graduated. I was working in environmental consulting for a while because I graduated in 2009, and I was just like, I gotta find a job. So I was doing that, but I was like thinking about like what I really wanted to do, and so I was reading more about genetic counseling, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like genetics. I like the idea of, it seemed like a lot of what you do, and this turned out to be true, is just talking people through difficult situations, difficult choices, being the person to deliver, oftentimes life-changing news. And I think at that point, my mother was ill as well, and so I was kind of experiencing that side of healthcare and kind of experiencing like how impactful those things can be. The way that someone delivers that kind of news, it's like what they call a flashbulb moment, it like imprints in your brain forever. And, if someone says the wrong thing, it can imprint in your brain forever. But if someone says something kind or, says something that you come back to, that can be very impactful. So all of that kind of really appealed to me.
What kind of news do genetic counselors give that you said are giving like really serious news? Like what do you tell people?
Yeah, it really depends. It depends. So genetic counseling is kind of divided into specialties. The main ones being like cardiology is kind of a more newer one, but the traditional main ones are like pediatrics, prenatal, and cancer. And so prenatal, I think, is one of the hardest in terms of delivering bad news because you're often a genetic counselor is often the one to deliver the news that prenatal screening or genetic testing has found that the baby someone is carrying has a, potentially fatal genetic disorder. So that's really heavy. In